books I have gifted the most. So recently I made a video all about books that I have been gifted that I love. So I thought, why don't I make a video about some books that I have gifted to others? And maybe this will give you a idea of books that maybe you can gift. So you can get all these books from the description down below, or pick them up from your local library if you just want it for yourself. And let's get right into it. Number one, If Cats Disappeared from the World. My favourite book, arguably, although Ursula K. Le Guin has made a play for that position, but I adore this book. I don't really remember how I got this book, but I think maybe I was on a kick of reading books with cats in them, and I worked at a Waterstones at the time, and I got a 50% discount on the book, so so I picked it up and I adored it. I loved it. It was again one of the first books that I read that was really like emotionally deep. It had a lot of emotional depth to it. It had a very interesting concept, which I'm not going to spoil, but a man basically has to make a deal with the devil to live longer, and certain things have to be given up for that. And I'm not going to go into much more detail than that because I think it's a really great book. But it talks about relationships, what you value, your own opinion of yourself, kind of what the things we value in life, like materialist things that we value, how we treat relationships, the relationships we have with people through the material. Oh God, it is very much like, it hits deep. And I know they made a movie out of this. I think maybe one day I'll make a comparison of the book to the movie. I just need to reread the book because it's been a good few years since I read it. But once I read this, I gave this book to so many people, friends, family, and they all adored it. But yeah, I really recommend it. It's not very long either. If you're a fast reader, it's a one-sitting read. Even if not, you can read it in about a week or less if you don't have so much time to read. But again, I really love this book and I highly, highly recommend it. Grief is a Thing with Feathers by Max Porter. This book, I think I spoke about it recently, but I can't remember where and when. But I spoke about this recently. I love this book, and I'm pretty sure it's Max Porter's first book, and I'm pretty sure they made at least a stage adaptation of this book. Again, it was many, many years ago, but I think there's a stage adaptation. I don't know if there's a film or TV version, but there's definitely a stage version, I remember. And this book is so moving. I think I've said it in a past video. I read it whilst on my lunch breaks at Waterstones, and I was just in tears. And my colleague came in and was like, "You finished it, didn't you?" And I was like, "Why did you make me read this?" And I adored it. And I've given it to I gave it to my best friend, and I've given it to at least one of my cousins, and I gave it to my sibling as well. And they were all just like, "Why have you done this to me? Why have you, huh?" And I'm like, I know, right? It's beautifully written. Again, not very long. I think a similar length to If Cats Disappeared from the World. So again, not very long at all. And just like a gut punch of emotion. And I think also it taught me about grief. It taught me about dealing with grief. I was young. I was probably about 18 years old when I read this, and obviously maybe when you're 18, unless you've experienced traumatic grief, you don't really understand it. When you're 18 or something, you feel invincible. You feel there's nothing's gonna happen. You feel everyone around you is invincible. But it was actually that point where I was like, oh, okay, maybe, wow, I don't know. So I think it's important, especially if you're young, to read books like that. Oh, maybe this would be a good one for the other series I do. Ooh, we'll keep that locked away just in case. But genuinely, just a devastating read, I think. And I think I read it at a good time. I think at 18 years old was a really good time to read a book like that. Just absolutely just devastating and saddening, but also teaching you dealing with grief, which is something I think a lot of people don't have, because we were never taught how to deal with grief. We're just expected to do so, and I think knowing how to deal with it helps. The Guest Cat, as you can tell, I like cats and I like Japanese authors. The Guest Cat was, again, a book I read in my formative years. I think a lot of these books are books I read in my formative years, which is why I'm so happy to gift them, because they were so important to me. And I oftentimes will try and gift them to like younger family members who I think can learn and grow from these books, as well as they certainly helped me do so. But The Guest Cat was just, again, it was when I first started reading more books about like people, about relationships, about, you know, interpersonal relationships, fiction books about them, because obviously when you're a bit younger, you kind of need that genre aspect to it. There's nothing wrong with reading genre stuff. I love fantasy now. But when you start reading more like literary fiction stuff, and it's more so about people and the interpersonal relationships, I think it helps you a lot. It makes you think, it makes you see where can I improve as a person as well. And I think that's what this book taught me. Kind of, it's about a relationship, and you know, at that age, about 18, 19, you know, you've got feelings and stuff. Feelings, what are those? So it was really impactful, and it was a very sweet book, I think, as well. I think it's so much so we have books that aren't kind. And that's no fault of the authors. I think, you know, kindness through a book doesn't sell unless it's a specific brand of kindness. I'm thinking like Eat, Pray, Love style. You know, just like that quaint kindness isn't something that's valued very much in our very individualistic, hyper-capitalistic society, unfortunately. So I think that's why I really liked this. And again, short and sweet. I've given it to a few people. I think I remember when I worked at Waterstones, you know, you get those tables where they have all the books. At least when I was there, there was like one table where we completely chose what books were on there. The other one's like corporate will decide. But there was at least one table where we just decided. And every day I worked, I was like, Guest Cat's got to be in that table, lads. So I wouldn't swap anything off, but I would always be like, if I'm not in, put The Guest Cat on the table, and I would always sell, because also the cover's really nice, at least if I can find the right picture. But yeah, I again, like all three of these books thus far have been just very short and like emotional, have a lot of emotional depth, and I think especially when you are in your early 20s, you know, late teens, maybe even in your late 20s, guys, you know, you still learn things in your late 20s, okay? Okay? But, you know, these kind of emotions and processing these things does, like, help when you're reading stuff about them, even, especially fiction. And finally, this is a very quick mention, but I want to die, but I want to eat tteokbokki. I'm only mentioning this because you know, this book is a good place in my heart, but I wouldn't necessarily give it as a gift. I have gifted it to my best friend, but they were specifically like, have you read this book? I said yes. They were like, I want to read this book. So I bet, and I gave them my copy. But you know, if you're someone who kind of wants to like delve into like psychology and understand someone and understand what someone's been through and see how maybe that could apply to you and get an understanding of it, and just, you know, if you want to, you know, think about getting therapy and stuff yourself, maybe this book can help. I'm more so saying it because it was the first video I made. I made a video on it. I think people liked it because I copied the thumbnail of the cover. Whatever, I like tried to replicate the cover, but it was the first video on this channel where I was like, oh, I can make videos that do well, and it made me actually want to continue making content on here more frequently. So it's like tangentially, I have gifted it. I would only gift it if you like really know someone like intimately. This isn't like, oh, we started dating, here's this book I think you should read. Don't do that. Just give it to someone you know intimately, or someone who has like expressed reading this book. Don't give it to like, this is our third meeting, here's this book about getting therapy, there's a lot of trigger warnings in there. So maybe stick to giving it to someone you're very close to. So those are some books I've loved gifting to people. Let me know in the comments down below, are there any books that you just always love gifting to someone. I'm struggling to say gifting. Let me know why, if you've gifted anyone any of these books, or if you read them yourself. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section down below as well. I'm gonna give a special thank you to my members. Members get bonus content. They get a special book club they're part of, where we'll be dropping a video about that tomorrow, Thursday. And they also get bonus badges, and they get bonus emojis, and they get a say in the kind of content that I make, and they get a behind the scenes stuff as well. So if you're interested, it's £2 a month. You can join below this video or on my channel. If not, thank you for getting to this part in the video. I really appreciate it. As always, you can pick up the books I've discussed in the description down below, or if you want them for yourself, get them from your local library. We love supporting libraries here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you read a great book today.